What's up, positive bitches? How are we doing today? If you are hearing this episode, then you are meant to be here, so keep listening. On that Bitches Positive podcast, sometimes we will laugh, other times, baby, we're gonna cry, but we will always walk away feeling our most empowered, positive bitch self. That is Babe in true connection with herself or himself. On this podcast, we unbecome who we are not, so we can fully step into exactly who we came here to be. Today, we are going to talk about how to manifest love, L-O-V-E. It is the month of love. It is February. To me, as a lover girl, every month is a month of love, but especially with Valentine's Day coming up, which is also my dog's birthday. I find that's even more important than Valentine's Day, but who am I to say whatever I think? Today, after my workout, I went to a chapel and I spoke to God and I said, God, what do you want your people to hear? Use me as your vessel. And I kneeled in front of the Blessed Mother and I said, what would you like me to say? Any messages? And she said, Cece, tell your people about how you manifested this current relationship. Tell them the sacred steps you took to manifest this divine union, this love. I am in a relationship, by the way. This is the best relationship I've ever been in my whole entire life. It is new, but still, with that being said, I've never had this before. So we're going to talk about that. I wrote everything down that I felt that God wanted me to speak on today. My office this morning was quite literally the chapel, and I wouldn't want it to be anything else. Those stained glass windows just make me feel alive in a way that I really don't feel unless I'm in a church or a holy place of worship. The energy there is otherworldly, literally. Before we get into today's episode, if you are looking to manifest love, well, here are 2 tools for you, if I may add. Be sure to get your magnetizing mug. I just created a new collection. This is what I've been doing to manifest my current relationship. I have 4 new mugs, and they're all about divine union: 222, 232, 1212, and 444 for self-love. I have the link in the bio for these magnetizing mugs. The reason why this is so imperative for your journey is because every single morning you are fine-tuning not only your subconscious mind, but the electromagnetic field you reside in, and you're encoding exactly what you want. Instead of getting sucked into the news cycle, you are creating positive news in your own life by using the source codes at the bottom of every single mug and literally absorbing the energy you want to exist within in your reality. I'm not kidding you. These magnetizing mugs will shift your reality, especially if you're looking to manifest love. There's now a whole entire collection really just for exactly that. So happy Valentine's Day. If you've not yet gotten your copy of Show Up As Her, my book, be sure to do that because it takes everything we talk about in these podcasts and it gives you journal prompts, meditations, everything you could want and more. Last but not least, there are 2 specific courses and 1 workbook that's going to pair with today's podcast. The 2 courses are the Shadow Alchemy course and the Art of Alchemy course. Both of these courses I created right before getting into this relationship, and this is the work that I did to wring myself out like a towel and release all the other older energies that were keeping me stuck. There's also a workbook, again, everything will be in the show notes, called Decoding the Divine to help you connect with your spirit team. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. I have come to the conclusion on my spiritual journey that Cece doesn't always know best. Whether I'm trying to figure out what I want for dinner or who to date, I am constantly consulting the divine. If you have not come to terms with this yet on your own journey, I invite you to become curious about the world that we reside within, especially the unseen world. There is a divinity that flows through your life. There's a divine hand at play in your life, whether you're realizing it or not. If I don't tune into my TV, I forget that it's even there. But it never ceases to exist. If we don't tune into the divine, it can feel like there's no divinity. It can feel like there's no God. But that's just because we're not making the effort to connect to this source. If you want to attract a better life, start consulting with the divine on how to actually do that and what's going to be best for you. I think I say this every single episode, but our ceiling is God's floor. I make sure that every time I'm making a decision, I'm not leaving that decision up to just my mere mortal mind. I am consulting the divine. I am relying on my intuition. If you want to come into sacred union and you want to stop attracting the narcissists and these low-level relationships, you have to do something different. And this means consulting a source that's greater than you. This means consulting a source that can see beyond what your mere mortal eyes can see. You are being guided. And if you want to open yourself up to understand that guidance, you have to start to ask. I'm going to take you through step by step by step everything I did to manifest this current relationship, the best relationship I've ever been in my life. I've never felt like this before. And we're just going to talk about it. Okay, we're going to talk about it. Step 1 to manifesting sacred union, a divine relationship, a higher quality love. What do? I called on the Blessed Mother. Ooh, I can feel her energy right now. Oh, the goosebumps. In ancient cultures, still some to this day, we used to rely on our elders to help us with this process of relationship, of marriage. It used to be that our elders would be our matchmakers. They would really light the way for us to understand who we would be in union with. And while that is not something that is part of our modern world, and while that is not something I would put upon my parents to do, I have made the Blessed Mother my sort of elder. And I specifically asked her to be the energy to connect me to my soulmate. I asked her, my divine mother, to be the energy to bring me into alignment with my soulmate. And there's a specific thread I want to read you, and this is by Issy Living, and she did something similar. When I was manifesting love, she said, I asked Mother Mary to be my matchmaker, and I met my husband later that week. This is why it worked. I did this, I believe it was in November, when I first started asking the Blessed Mother to connect me to my soulmate, my divine counterpart. To continue from Issy Living, Mother Mary was actually a matchmaker. Mother Mary, Jesus, and the entire extended Holy Family were Essenes. The Essenes were a mystical branch of Judaism deeply entrenched in the mysteries. They existed in Judea, Egypt, and beyond since the fall of Atlantis, and they actively used matchmakers to help the right couples connect. The function of marriage for the Essenes was as another layer of spiritual initiation. Mostly these couples were practicing sacred union, womb mysteries, and light conception. This meant that the couples who married and entered these initiations had to share a deep soul history, be energetically aligned, and share a similar soul purpose in this life, but be different enough energetically to activate each other. Elders helped younger Essenes who desired marriage to align with the right partner for their life path. But these were not arranged or forced marriages. An Essene who desired to take the initiation of marriage would go to certain elders who could help guide their decision and even set them up to meet potential partners from different Essene communities. These elders or matchmakers were themselves deeply immersed and schooled in the mysteries of divine union. They used their knowledge of astrology, the mysteries of divine union, and even communicating with the spirit guides of the people involved to recommend potential marriages that could be of service to the individuals as well as the community. Many of these matches were soulmate unions. They also perform deep healing and purification rituals to prepare potential couples, removing any traumas, blocks, and entities that might prevent the couples from connecting in peaceful, loving union. Mother Mary was one of the Essene matchmakers. One of her primary roles in the Essene community was helping soulmates connect with each other, looking into the soul history of all potential couples, performing radical womb healings and entity removals, and initiating couples into divine union. It was Mother Mary who first saw Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, Jesus, as potential matches for each other before they were even born. This was also a sacred responsibility that Mother Mary taught her son Yeshua. One of the primary miracles of Yeshua performed was removing entities that were preventing couples from meeting each other or developing a peaceful union. This shows up twice in the Christian Bible. Did you ever think it was weird that the very first public miracle Yeshua performs is turning water to wine at a wedding? And it was his mother who asked him to perform this miracle. This is a metaphor for the miraculous nature of souls joining together in divine union. Yeshua's status as a matchmaker also shows up when he removes 7 entities from Mary Magdalene. He was removing any potential energetic interference between them before their marriage. Matchmaking was not seen as frivolous by the Essenes, but as deep soul work contributing to the harmony and continuation of the community. They knew that a loving, spiritually initiated couple channeled divine love that helped to shift the energy of the planet. They also knew that these couples would be able to birth higher dimensional souls to assist with humanity's spiritual development, while couples who share deep negative karma could interfere with their spiritual development. Mother Mary is still serving as a mentor to us, teaching us how to come into divine union and uncover the initiations within sacred marriages. If you ask her to be your matchmaker, she will rapidly come to your aid and help you meet your soulmate. She does this from her heart because she knows how much the beauty of divine union helps us face the pain of life on planet Earth, but also because she knows that divine union has a deeply important role to play in human ascension. There's also a book by Dolores Cannon, who is a hypnotherapist, and she has a whole entire book on the Essenes where there is this client that she has, and when she puts her client into hypnosis, the client starts channeling a man from the Essene community in Qumran, and this client starts telling her that they had matchmakers, and these matchmakers would tap in energetically, would use astrology to understand whose souls would be the most beneficial to one another to come into this divine union. We don't think of relationships in this way anymore, but it's time that we shift our perspective. When I started to ask Mother Mary to align me with my soulmate, I also started to get the impression that this relationship was not just about me. Not only is my soulmate going to push me to evolve in certain spiritual aspects, not only is this person going to teach me and love me, this connection is also about this future bloodline that we are coming together to birth. There are souls that want to come through my physical vessel, but that also wants the DNA of my soulmate. So I started to understand, okay, wait a minute. This is not just about what Cece wants when Cece wants it. This is also about, well, what's best for my soulmate? What lessons does my soulmate need to integrate before we come together? What energies need to be expelled from the both of us before we come together? And that's why shadow work and the art of alchemy, these two courses are going to shift what you're able to attract, because it's removing the entities, removing the energies that are causing disruption in your ability to manifest as a clear vessel. I started to realize that this is not just about me, but about the souls that want to come through me with this other person. This is about birthing a bloodline that could shift the frequency of this planet. First step, calling on Mother Mary, returning to this ancient practice of relying on the elders. But for me, I'm not going to rely on mom and dad because they have their own programming. I'm going to rely on divinity. Second step, I asked God to mold my desires to be in alignment with my higher plan rather than my will. So it's surrendering to thy will instead of Cece's will. I knew I needed my senses to be shifted in a way that I was going to be attracted to what's best for me, not what I think I want. I asked God specifically, God, mold my heart's desires to want what's best for me. God, mold my heart's desires to be attracted to what's best for me. Because whatever I'm attracted to right now, it ain't working. I'm not liking this. I had to shift from my egoic desires or what I thought would be best because I wasn't that sure to heart-centered, divinity-based. After my 7-year relationship and dating around, I came to the conclusion on my own that maybe the person I need is someone who's the most powerful person in the room, that kind of energy. But realistically, the person who thinks they're the most powerful is actually usually the most insecure. The person who has to brag about all the things they have, most insecure. I thought I needed someone who was showing up as intensely masculine, but I also had the wrong idea about what that would actually look like, which we're going to get into. And so I needed God to work on me a little bit. I needed God to show me where my blind spots were, because after my 7-year relationship, I think what happened, which we do a ton, is we then overcorrect by going for the exact opposite. So I was really interested in someone who knew a lot about a lot, pretty intense in the physical realm, this sense of power, but it's very illusionary and faulty. And I did think that I was like, oh, they're a narcissist. I could handle that. Not really a big deal for me. It's not, but I don't want that. I needed to have certain experiences with these narcissistic personalities, these energies, to understand that's not what I want. That is not what I want. I think that I had an insecurity that I am a lot, so I need someone who's even more than me, more powerful, more energy. A narcissist is really good at projecting as if they are more, but at the same time being very empty. So it was easy for a narcissist to be attracted to my energy because I have a lot of energy to give and they're starving for exactly that light. So it worked, but it ultimately felt really icky to me. And it felt very like I was in a straitjacket the whole time, pretty much. Very constrictive. And I needed to have those experiences to realize that's not what I want. And the story I was telling myself was a matrix lie of what the masculine energy is and how it can be portrayed in this 3D reality. What I now realize is those men that I was going towards and who I was entering into relationship with, not real relationship, but just speaking to dating, I thought at first it was working because they would pretend not to be intimidated by me, but I actually made them really insecure. So it ultimately would get weird. I now realize a man that has no ego is actually the most masculine man on this planet. I don't need someone who portrays themselves to be quote unquote more powerful than me. I need someone who allows me to just be me and actually just creates a safe space for me to show up in and thinks my energy is amazing. They don't have to match me. They just have to be able to hold the space for me. And that really is a man with no ego. And actually, I can't even call him boyfriend because to me, he's just my soulmate. But my current soulmate is someone who has zero ego, literally said, I don't even have an ego, which is crazy because I was talking about that last podcast before he even said that, but he said it the same day. There's just so many synchronicities. I'm learning so much in this current connection. So obviously I'm going to share everything with you. This current connection is redefining how I see the masculine energy. And I realize more and more and more that the divine feminine is really the leader in energy, is the leader in divine union, is the leader in love frequency. And the masculine then is leader in the physical realm because he can create the safe space for the feminine to show up. But it's really the divine feminine that directs this union. And that's why it's so imperative that you ask for this divine union to begin to fall into place. As a divine feminine energy, you are the leader of this divine union. So take your position. This man allows me to be the leader in the energetic realm, in love, in all these things. And I would used to think like, oh, that's not really masculine, but it so is. That's the most masculine thing someone can do, is be so cool in their own skin that they let the divine feminine just flow. And it just allows the divine feminine to be exactly who she is without feeling intimidated or trying to control her or having something to say about her. In the other relationships that I experienced, a lot of these men would have certain masculine traits. I think they would try to put on a mask of what they thought the masculine energy was. And I believed it too. And it would work temporarily, but with me, someone who's so intuitive, eventually I would have the dreams. I literally had a dream that this man turned into an old decrepit woman while we were kissing, and I go, oh no, because everything he was doing I could just feel was so fake, and on the surface it seemed really masculine, but it was very much controlled and contrived and just a mask. And that was very ego based, thinking he had to be a certain way instead of actually just embodying true masculine energy, being in his ego rather than saying, actually, I don't even need this ego. I'm going to honor you. So the second step is asking God to mold your desires and to give you eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart full of discernment to help you understand what's a mask of the masculine energy versus what is true masculine embodiment. And of course, if you're a masculine leading energy, then you would ask, what's the true divine feminine versus the mask of a feminine, to understand and to allow your senses to open so you can perceive what's in front of you. And asking God to mold your desires away from egoic desires into your heart's desires. What's for your highest good? What's actually going to make you happy? Because I thought that man who would show up and pretend like he's the most powerful guy in the room, I thought that was going to make me happy, but really it just turned me off when I actually experienced it. What actually makes me happy is a man who says, I don't even have an ego, I just love you. That's what makes me happy. That is it. That is it. The third step is doing the shadow work, is removing the entities that are keeping you stuck, is doing the work of somatic healing, meditation, journaling, and you don't have to be in this process alone. That is why I created the Shadow Work Alchemy course and the Art of Alchemy course. Do both of these courses. Expel the energies that have been attracting your past relationships so that you can align with a love like you've never had before. After I went through both of these courses and then I created them, I literally, everything I do in these courses, I did on myself first. That is what allowed me to move on from the pattern I was attracting before to now the person I'm with now. It's what changed everything for me. You have to actually do the work. Listening to this podcast is amazing. Reading the books is amazing. But if you don't sit your butt down and actually expel the energies, you're not doing it. You're not doing enough. You have to do the actual work. And that's why you have to do the course. You have to sit down and do the journaling. You have to sit down and do the meditation. Through this course, you are going to be stomping your feet. You're going to be using your fists. You're going to be somatically healing your own physical vessel to expel the energies, the entities that have been passed down to you in your bloodline that have been keeping you stuck. This is your life. If you want new results, you have to do something new. And that is what these courses are going to allow you to do. The third step is shadow work, and learning how to alchemize during this process. The reason I bring up alchemy is because I don't want you to get burnt out. I was getting so burnt out going on dates. I was getting so burnt out. I felt exhausted because something would happen where they would be nonchalant, or they just weren't showing up how I knew I wanted them to show up. And I specifically remember one time driving to a date, and I thought to myself, why am I even driving myself? Like, I don't want to do this. Like, this is not our first date. I don't want to do this anymore. This is not how I'm meant to be treated. This is just energetically wrong. They were so kind and nice, but this is just wrong. And I had to not get down by that, because it's so easy to get hit one after the other and get burnt out and want to just give up on love. And it's 12:22 on my timer. It's so easy to just want to give up. So you have to learn how to rise above it. And that is what the art of alchemy will do for you. It's going to teach you how to use the energy to give you momentum to align with a higher vibrational relationship instead of getting completely depleted like a piece of burnt toast. The fourth step is relying on your intuition to guide you instead of relying on your brain. So yeah, we're going to call on the divine. We're going to ask God to mold our desires. We're going to work on our shadow self. We're going to learn how to become this master alchemist, but we're also going to start to shift into our divine feminine energy, regardless of what gender we are, to learn how to use our own intuition. In November, on 11/11, I knew it was time to delete the dating apps. Then on my birthday, which is also the 1/1 portal, January 11, I literally heard God say to me, re-download the app. And I was like, wait, no. I don't want to do that. 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 But I kept hearing it all day. And while I got a facial and a massage on my birthday, and I did the cold plunge in the sauna. And while I'm there, I'm like, damn it. I had so much time to just be in my own energy. So I downloaded the app, and I said, I'm just doing it because I know that's what you're telling me to do, and then I want to get the hell out of here. I download the app, and the app is glitching. I was in Florida, by the way, if I didn't mention that. And I wanted to update my location because I was going to be in Florida for a little bit. And I thought maybe that's why God wants me to re-download this app. Maybe my person's just in Florida, and so I have to re-download it here in order to meet with them. And I download the app. It glitches. It won't update my location. So I can't update the app. And the first person who shows up on my app happens to be my current soulmate. I can't call him boyfriend because he's more than that to me. I don't know. Anyway, my soulmate. And so I look at his page. I'm like, whatever. He says he never gained anything positive by being negative. I'm like, okay, so you have a brain. Great. Swiped right. After that, my phone was able to update, and it updated my location. So I go, okay, great. You're not glitching anymore. Awesome. He messages me, and our conversation just flies. His first message was something about, okay, I see you work with energy, but you also can teleport, because how are you in Florida right now? And then I had to explain my phone glitch and everything. But our conversation started and never ended. Never ended. Paragraphs. I showed you last time, if you're watching on YouTube, paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs of just speaking. It was like talking to an old friend. It just went. And after that, I was like, okay, I don't need this. I deleted the app again very shortly after. I don't like the app's energy, so I didn't want it on my phone, and I was connecting to him anyway. Oh, wait, he actually wanted me to tell you this. Totally forgot. He also didn't want to go on the apps at all. His friend forced him and made his profile for him. He was also saying God speaks through people sometimes. And in the same way that he trusted that process, I also trusted my intuition in this current season, and I did the thing I didn't really want to do, but that I felt was in alignment for me anyway. And then I deleted it right after. I know everything I've said about the dating apps, and I still believe everything I said. However, I put God above all. And so there's not much for me to say about this besides the fact that you just got to listen to your intuition. If you're getting burnt out on the dating apps, delete them. Because on November 11th, I was so burnt out, I deleted it. I talked to Mother Mary. I said, Mother Mary, just do this for me. I went 2 months without it. And then on my birthday, 1/1/1, I re-downloaded it. matched with him, and then deleted it shortly after again. So sometimes you have to rely on the natural flow of energy and follow the flow. If you're feeling depleted, get off. If you're feeling like, I have this little seed within me that kind of wants to dip my toe back in, okay, see what's there, because maybe there's something there. It was the same voice I heard in meditation when I heard get onto TikTok. I heard get back on the app. It was the same voice. So I knew to follow it. If you feel that pull, just see where it's going to bring you, and you don't have to stay on it. You can delete it right after, but just see where it's leading you. The next step that I took was I blocked any matrix lie out there that there's no good men out there, that all the good men are taken. They're not. They are not taken. And I'll also say there were good men who are just not my mans, but there were good men that I've met, so kind, so nice, that I dated. We didn't end up together, but they're still out there dating people and looking for their person. There are good men out there. There are good women out there. And if you need more momentum to believe that, listen to last week's podcast, because it will pair really nicely with today's podcast. I am not going to live in accordance to the matrix and how current people date, because I'm an ancient soul. We told each other we loved each other on the second date. That sounds psychotic. I understand. In the current climate, that is psychotic. However, I don't live in accordance to the culture. I am in this world, but I am not of it. I told him he was my soulmate before I even met him. I go, yeah, okay, you're my soulmate. I don't care. Like I said, this is my Kanye era, minus the recent whatever that freak that was on the red carpet of the Grammys. What was that? What was that? Is that really him? Is that a clone? Is that real? Is that really Kanye? I can't accept that's him. Is that him? I don't want to believe that. That's not the Kanye I'm talking about anyway. Whatever. I'm not going to date in accordance to the current culture. I don't sleep around. I'm not into hookup culture. That's just not who I am. So I am not going to fall into the lies of the matrix of, oh, you have to play cool. You have to act this. You have to do that. Don't double tap. Oh my God, get so for real. I'm going to do what works for me. I'm going to rely on my intuition. I'm going to rely on God. Anything else is mumbo jumbo and doesn't really make any sense. So with that being said, we followed the flow. Now, I wouldn't be like, I love you and have this intensity if I didn't actually feel that. And if I didn't think this person was my soulmate, and if he wasn't reciprocating the energy. Here's another step. I never lowered my standard. I won't allow it to happen, because if I lowered my standard to a nonchalant man, God knows what I would have been dealing with right now, and I wouldn't be happy. This man is so chalant. He's just the perfect amount of intensity, of loving, and every positive attribute I could ever think of is in this human being. And thank God, because if I would have dropped my standard, then I wouldn't be able to attract this. Whatever you allow, you amplify. So the next step here is, I'm not going to believe the matrix. I'm not going to drop my standard. I am going to hold my standard high, and I'm going to trust God. And I'm not going to have weird egoic standards that don't make any sense. I'm going to have heart-centered standards where I can ask myself, would God want this person for me? And God would say yes. And you can ask yourself, would I want my son or daughter to be like this person? And if the answer is yes, okay, you're probably with a good person. And now it's 1:11 on the clock. The last step I took was believing that every single negative experience was still leading me towards my sacred union. And if you're having trouble with that, I have on two of the mugs, 1212 and 232. Those are both helpful for releasing and for surrendering. I would practice the mantra, every single person is a link in my chain towards divine union. And that is a source code I put on the mug to help you release, surrender, and move forward. You have to understand that every relationship that doesn't work out is still working for you, because it's initiation for you to work on yourself, on your shadow, and attract divine love and sacred union. I don't want to talk too much about my relationship, because I don't want it to feel like, I don't know, like I'm just speaking in your face, but I do want to speak on it as inspiration for you, because a month ago, I could have very easily fallen into the trap of the matrix and these lies and all of these things. And I told you at the beginning of this year that was just, it's not going to be for me. I don't play those games. And every message I've been channeling has been about love, 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 love. So I just know that this is a very expansive year for love, and there's a mass divine sacred union happening this year. It's the beginning stages of it. So a lot of the people who listen to me are going to be entering into sacred union, and this is just the beginning, is 2025, and it's going to continue into the upcoming years, but we are getting started, and it's going to go fast, and it's going to be accelerated because, and it's funny because I've been telling my mom, everyone around me is like, girl, slow down, okay? Relax. And I totally get it, because according to culture and our standard for what relationships look like, this looks crazy, telling each other that you love each other, and just like our closeness is not what I've ever experienced really before. But when it's something by God, it's just different. When it's divine union, it's just different. I want to be one of the people who help people flow into divine union and realize this is going to be the new standard. These are the relationships of the new earth, not this ghosting, not this mumbo jumbo nonchalant, not this what are we. It is clear, it is concise, it is safe, it is security, it is peace, it is love. That is what we will be experiencing in this year. I love you so much. I hope this podcast episode resonated with you. Perhaps next week we will do one where you ask me questions on Instagram and I will answer them, and we can talk about love and manifestation. But these are all the steps I took to manifest love. I'm sending you all the love in the world. As always, the sparkle in me honors the sparkle in you, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah.